I'm Yolanda McKinney, and this is Table Talk Tuesday. And today I have with me Winnie Lowe Davis.
Hello.
Winnie, introduce yourself.
I am Winnie Lowe Davis. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the Birmingham area.
And Winnie and I are going to talk about some of the big topics that are going on this week, especially with it being Valentine's Day on Saturday. So for your Table Talk Tuesday, Winnie and I are going to talk about love and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So Winnie,
Yes.
let's talk to people out there who are not in a relationship. With Valentine's Day coming up, they may be feeling some pressure to either be in a relationship or just from other people. For instance, working in the workplace, and everybody in the workplace are getting flowers and gifts, and you're not. What can we say to those people?
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes, well, first of all, we have to think about what is it that we really want. Is it really the gifts that we want, or is it the love that comes along with the gifts? And sometimes we get so caught up in getting gifts that we don't think about really it's the relationship that we want. And so, I think all of us have been in that situation where, our girlfriends may be dating somebody or, in a relationship or whatever, and we're not. And so we feel like Valentine's Day coming and I'm not going to get anything. Well, who's to say that you have to get anything? I mean, yeah, people say it's a day of love and all that kind of stuff, but I think first you have to love yourself. And what's wrong with buying yourself something? And
that's a good tip, to actually buy something for yourself and treat yourself on that day.
Right.
Because what I was about to say to you was, first you gotta love yourself. And on Valentine's Day, that's really good advice, but in real life, you don't want to hear that.
Right, and you don't. So that's why you don't need to wait until Valentine's Day to think about love. You should love yourself, number one, from the jump every day. And so I think we get so caught up in Valentine's Day, but what about the day before Valentine's Day? What about the day after Valentine's Day? So, I mean, you don't just live for Valentine's Day. And I don't see anything wrong with saying, it's a special day. I'm going to celebrate myself. I don't have to wait on anybody to celebrate me or say they love me. I love myself, and I love myself enough to treat myself to something nice. So if I want to go buy me a nice necklace, or if I want to take myself to dinner or whatever, I don't see anything wrong with that. And people may say, well, you shouldn't do that. And, we all have people who want to just have negative opinions about it. But I think it first starts with loving yourself. And I have to love me and not wait for somebody to fill that void. Because if I'm half and I'm looking for another half, that ain't going to put it together. I need to be a whole person looking for a whole person. And so if I can't celebrate myself for Valentine's Day, because I think I'm very special, and I don't need nobody to go buy me a rose to tell me I'm special. I can buy my own rose. I can do that. So I'm thinking, celebrate, and it don't even have to be big stuff. It could be I'm taking myself out to a pedicure or a manicure or whatever. Or if you died, that's my splurge day. I'm gonna get me some chocolate covered strawberries and have a good time. But we get so caught up in what everybody else is doing and how everybody else. Who's to say how you celebrate it? Where's the guidelines and directions that they passing out saying this is how I celebrate Valentine's Day?
This is how it has to be celebrated.
So, yeah.
Okay. So moving on into relationships, a couple of things I'd like to talk about is relationships where, again, what your advice was is awesome. I mean, that is truly what we should be doing, and how we should love ourselves, and how we should treat ourselves, and treat ourselves actually.
Exactly.
And so, but we want to kind of push people and get them moving in the right direction. So, what about when you're in a situation where, for instance, no, you're not with anyone, but again, because you haven't gotten to that place where you are treating yourself, you kind of fall into some of those old habits and those old patterns, right? And maybe you go back to someone, I guess for lack of a better term, the loneliness makes you more vulnerable to going back to maybe a relationship that you actually are no longer in.
Right.
How do we help people get past that?
And I think what we need is a friend who will really be honest with us and say, girl, look, you've been there, you've done that. Really, Valentine's Day gonna drive you back to that? Look at all this history that you have there, and you gonna go back for some candy and a rose? I mean, I buy you a candy and a rose. I mean, is it that serious? But we do need people to help us be accountable, because we all have the vulnerabilities. We all have times where, because we know it's comfortable, and yeah, it may not be the best thing for us, but we know it. We know what we're dealing with. And so sometimes the loneliness and the unknown, it's a kind of scary thing. So would I rather go with the unknown or the known, even though that's not the best thing for me? And we go
to what's comfortable.
Right. We go to what's comfortable. And, you know, we go there and we do it again, and then it's like, you know, I knew I shouldn't have did that, but I was feeling this at the time. And so that's why it's important to surround yourself with people that will support you and help you. And when you have those times of loneliness, just call them up, girl, look, this is what I'm thinking about. And they'll be like, I'm on the way, or I'm coming to get you, or now you know that ain't good.
Yeah.
So having that group to help support you, because we all have those times, even when, you know, things are going great, we have those times where we may feel vulnerable, or we may feel like stepping back into things we shouldn't. And so to have that support system, I think, is very important, because you need people to help you kind of come to talk things out. You know, well, if I do this, what might happen? Or if I go back here, you know, will it be the same thing that happened the last time? So I think having that system of support is very important, especially during times where you feel lonely or vulnerable.
Okay. So another thing, okay, let's get into, we've talked about people who were in relationships or are single. But let's talk about people who are in relationships. I mean, you know, I've watched people say that, no, it's not a big deal to them, right? They don't care. And it's just another day. I've also watched people who, you know, it means something.
Right.
So what about people who are in relationships or are married? What type of pressure, I guess I would ask, does this day put on a relationship? And, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny, because I was watching the news the other day, and they were saying that married people spend the less during Valentine's. And so me and my husband were talking about it, and then he was saying engaged people spend more than the single people.
Okay.
I said, but think about it. Okay, if we're married, then we like, shoot, we got bills, and if we got kids, we got kids, and it's like, ooh, I love you too, happy Valentine's Day. But it's like, you know, we don't go above and beyond, because it's kind of like I got them. So that's Valentine's Day every day. So why do I got to go buy roses? You know, we got to pay bills. We got life here, you know. And then we talked about the engaged people. Well, if you engaged, you're so excited because I'm about to be married, and you still trying to win them over. So, you know, you may go splurge a little bit. You eat you some, you know, cereal and a sandwich for lunch, but you okay with it, because you like, I'm about to get her.
Yeah.
And single, you like, look, I'm just, you know, I like you, but you know, I ain't gonna break the bank, because I don't know about tomorrow. You know, the day after, you might be like, see ya.
Okay.
So, but I think for married people, I guess it kind of depends on where we start. For example, you know, in the beginning, we make Valentine's Day this big issue. But after a while, it's really like that should be happening all year long. And not that you're buying me things or, you know, whatever, but I should feel love all year long. And so I think for married people, some of us ladies, you know, we want the world, and we want it every Valentine's Day. And it's like, you know, I want this awesome stuff. And for the husband, he like, look, well, we did that. It's, you know, it's time to move on to some other things, honey. And you want this, and you want that, and you want this for Valentine's Day too? Well, we don't have to compromise. And so I think for us ladies, we, you know, want bunches and bunches of stuff, yet sometimes we need to make sure it's not all piled into one day.
One day. That's true.
Yeah. So it won't be any pressure, because, and like for some of my friends, you know, they're like, we don't want anything for Valentine's Day. And I'm thinking, who in the world? I mean, even little children that are not in a relationship want things for Valentine's Day. So I'll go back.
I would say you can't be lying.
Let me go back. I think one of the pressures, especially for girls, is early on. Not so much for guys, because really Valentine's Day, it is about love, but let's face it, it's about the girls. And so I know for me, when we were in high school, people would send things to the school for Valentine's Day. So it would be a gym full of balloons and stuffed animals and all kinds of stuff. And so they would call your name over the intercom. And so if they didn't call your name, you knew you
wasn't loved.
That's right. Right. You ain't loved today. And so so what my mom did was she was like, don't worry about it because I'm going to send you something. And I'm thinking, but mama, I mean, it didn't matter to me. I was like, I know I'm loved, so if they call my name, cool. If they don't, that's cool too. But for a lot of people, that was important. And so even in my middle school that I work at, we're selling, there's a group that's selling carnations. And so what we're going to do is for the kids who don't get one bought for them, we're going to give the extra carnations to the kids that don't get one. So we're perpetuating this, you have to get something for Valentine's Day. And I'm just like, you know, it's sweet on the one hand because you want the kids to get something, but at the same time, what's the message we're sending is that you need to get something on Valentine's Day. And the other day, we don't say, oh, you didn't get anything? Let me get you something.
You didn't get your A?
Yeah, you didn't get an A, baby girl. Let me give you this A. Oh,
so you won't feel bad.
Okay. Wow. You didn't get on the honor roll. Oh, let me give you this. We don't do that. But it's so we, as a society, we perpetuate this. And so it takes us a minute to really realize what the day means and what it really is all about. It's kind of saying, you know, I love you all year long, but I'm going to make this a special day to say how much I love and appreciate you, which is all it really is. But I just think, we add into that because...
we all feed into it.
We do. Because even, think about it, even in elementary school, everybody makes a bag. And you gotta make a little card, or you gotta bring something for everybody in the class because so you go around, everybody a little bag, and you put them something. I love you, be mine. You know, we got all this stuff.
And you give certain ones. Okay, little story. In elementary school, I had a guy that I really, really had a big crush on, and I had two little Valentine's Day cards for him. One was Oscar the Grouch saying something mean, and then one was like the real my heart, like I like you, please be mine kind of thing. And one of my friends took one of them and gave it, and she didn't give him. She didn't give him. Well, I guess I was like sitting around afraid to give it to him or something. And so anyway, so he got the one that was kind of like, you know, I was caring about you.
So see, even in elementary school, we do, and so it's as a society, it's just something we perpetuate. But we have to, once we get older, we have to realize, you know, what does the day really mean? And it's a day to just appreciate the people you love, and for the people that love you to appreciate you. So that's really, you know, what it's all about. So if it's just you single ladies, get with your girlfriends and y'all go out to the movies, go eat, have a great time. I mean, men have to be involved.
Me and my bestie are actually going to see 50 Shades of Grey.
Have a Valentine's Day. You know, I mean.
And I messaged her and I said, will you be my Valentine? And I said, you know, because we read the book.
Yeah.
And she read the book. She's a reader. I'm not. But I read the book. And we talked about the book, and now the movie has finally come out. And when I found out it was coming out, I said, "Hey, let's go to the movies." And so she and I are going to see 50 Shades, and we'll hang out and talk about it, and that'll be, you know, our day. But what I'd like to actually, after talking to you and listening to you, I'd like to challenge people to actually show love on that day. And so let's say if you're, whatever your situation is, married, single, or happy, or not, you know, connected, be connected. Use that day as a day of saying, I'm actually going to show people that I come across love. Because you don't know who's feeling that high of the day and who's not feeling the high of the day. And so maybe that hug, or you know, that touch on the shoulder, or that just how's your day, and that smile would actually brighten up someone's day that day. So I think that's a great way for us to celebrate that day.
Right.
And that's free. You know, that's not something anyone has to spend any money on.
Nope.
And you can actually just show people love and show people kindness.
I think that's an excellent idea, because, you know, like you said, even for the people that are connected and know they're getting something for Valentine's Day or whatever, but just to know that people appreciate you, they love you, they care about you. As human beings, we all need that. So yeah, a simple, you know, happy Valentine's Day, or hey, you know, have a great day, that kind of thing. You know, girl, let me give you a hug. Happy Valentine's Day. That, I mean, we don't know how much that could mean to someone, and we take it for granted, maybe because we have a spouse that's going to do something for us, or a boyfriend, or significant, whatever. And so, you know, maybe we take it for granted, but for people who may not have that, or for people who have that, or just, that may just be going through, and maybe Valentine's this year is not the happiest of times it's been in the past, just that hug, just that connection to say, you know, number one, I acknowledge that you're here. Number two, I appreciate you for being here. You know, I love you. That kind of thing. That can go a long way. And sometimes we take that for granted, that just those simple acts of kindness, how far they take people and how much that means to other people. So that's an excellent idea.
Good. Good.